also has a known association to East Coast, the 2010 Blue Mazda 3.
Yes, yes, you're now blessed with the best, the host with the most, the Content DJ. Here on the Content DJ Radio, we're here to drop jewels and drop game. As we travel the gravel and the concrete jungle on the ghetto safari of life, this will be a journey no one will forget. Content DJ Radio. Yo, yo, yo. Good morning, good morning. Let's get to it. Let's get to some of this content, man. Do our thing. You know, it's a sad day. Sad week, man. We lost a good player in a car accident. Y'all drive safe out there this morning. And buckle up, man. Long live James Richardson. Shout out to the family. And all the friends. You know, we getting up there, y'all, man. It's a celebration and elevation and separation and solitude. So we gotta have gratitude, man. And if we come together, let it be for community. You know what time it is. It's the Content DJ, man. Nothing but good spirits and good vibes. Shout out to all my dudes. All the dudes paid. Yeah, I'm checking out this thing right here, man. It's a crazy little hood drama. Down there in the gangland, man. Go ahead and check out some of this content, man. It was cold how they did this, man. Creeped up on the house.
1-year-old Khalil Santos, also known as Infant Baller.
Went in. Yeah, so there's a party at the Airbnb. And about 7 of them come through. Heat. Didn't expect it. People through the windows. Everybody just in there partying. Then over 120 shots come through the walls. Yeah, man, you gotta watch your surroundings. Now with this internet, man, they coming. They playing a deadly game. Hey, you need a space to shoot, record, or create? First Content Studio. Let it be the place. Oakland home for content and events.
But this compound is also equipped with electric gates, various surveillance cameras, and all the tools necessary for East Coast to operate in secrecy while putting in work. Now, before police stumble on this compound, we have to retrace our steps before the quadruple murder at the birthday party. And this is what brings us to a full circle moment on November 17, 2021, 2 months before the birthday murders, back in the city of Inglewood. On this night, at the Quality Inn off Century Boulevard, police are patrolling. They enter the parking lot and they see a blue 2010 Mazda 3 backed into a parking space with 2 individuals that are unresponsive. Police say they decided to approach this vehicle to do somewhat of a wellness check to make sure these dudes are okay. You know, drugs these days take people out. So police use that as their motive for popping up on this car. And as they approach, they not only see 19-year-old Kevin Salter, who also goes by Infant Juneboy from 6'9 East Coast, along with his cousin in the driver's seat, Jeremy Ransom, who also goes by Juneboy from 6-Pack East Coast. But the handle of a black handgun catches their eye from the front windshield underneath Kevin Salter's leg. Police then decide to tap on the door handle and the door is unlocked. They immediately retrieve the firearm, which turns out to be a Smith & Wesson 40 cal, and they begin to detain Infant Juneboy. Now, after pulling his cousin Jeremy out, they then find a Glock 19 and Jeremy is detained. Now, with Juneboy already previously being convicted of a felony, he's not supposed to have this weapon. And with the Glock 19 coming back as stolen out of Vegas, both of these dudes go down instantaneously. And the blue Mazda is towed out of the Quality Inn. Now, the blue Mazda's registration is ran, and it ends up coming back to a young lady by the name of Holly Santos. Holly Santos is the sister of Infant Baller from 6'9 East Coast. Now, Khalil, Infant Juneboy, and his cousin Jeremy are all tight-knit, seen in multiple photos together representing the 6-pack. And at this time, Khalil and the Juneboys were suspects in a home invasion that it took place just prior to the Juneboys going down for these guns at the Quality Inn. But with no real connection of Holly Santos to any crime or this vehicle being related to anything, they released the blue Mazda back to Holly Santos, and nothing is really standing out at this time. But in less than a month, Infant Baller and Infant Juneboy would be seen in the same blue Mazda in front of 201 East 116th Street in the 1180 East Coast blocks at a crime scene that will blow this case wide open. Now, 11A East Coast is not a large hood, but it's an aggressive hood, surrounded by a lot of enemies. And with their hood overlapping enemies, there's a lot to get into in this section. To the south of them is Athens Park. Coexisting with them is South Los. And along with Athens Park, they're gonna be beefing with the Pirus in Compton. But at this time in late 2021, they seemingly started aggressively attacking South Los, which started 3 days after Infant Juneboy goes down at the Quality Inn. At 105 West 116th Street, right by the underpass of the freeway, there's somewhat of a mechanic business there. And at 5:30 p.m., 3 members of South Los by the name of Danny Rodriguez, Temper, and Demon are said to be here working on a vehicle. And this is when East Coast strikes, firing 27 9mm rounds and 15 7.62s. They hit Danny Rodriguez, who was seen lying on the ground between 2 cars with a gunshot wound to his shoulder and his leg. They hit Temper, who was laying next to him with a gunshot wound to the left front shoulder. And they hit Demon in the head. And when police arrived on the scene, witnesses said they seen Demon pissing in his hands, trying to clean his wound out after still being conscious after a headshot. Now, all 3 of these dudes from South Los are surprisingly still alive. But when police got to the scene, they only locate 2 of the 3 victims. Demon is missing. He ran to a hotel with the gunshot wound in his head and met with a member named Lefty from South Los. He asked Lefty for help and seemingly wanted to get out of the vicinity of the shooting. This is when additional calls come in and say there's a man with a gunshot wound on 108th and Fig, bleeding from his head, and he's now incapacitated and unresponsive. Police arrive, and it's Demon from South Los. Now, the first 2 victims on 116th were uncooperative. They didn't tell police who shot at them, and when police got up with Lefty from South Los, he didn't do any telling either. But police had it in the back of their mind that 11A East Coast was responsible for this. And 2 weeks later, on December 6, 2021, they would get a clearer picture as to who exactly was attacking the members from South Los. Now, shortly before 7 p.m. on 116th, this is a dead-end street. 11-8 is back here, and at this time of 2021, South Los is back here in somewhat of a homeless encampment. Sitting in the RV directly across from 201 East 116th Place, we have 34-year-old Jose Palmer, also known as Samer, from South Los, and 25-year-old Hector Cervantes, also known as Pollo, who was seen repping 101st and Freeman, which is Tepa Gang in the city of Inglewood. They're with their girlfriends, Daisy and Araceli. Samer has some meth in his pocket, and they're looking to wind down and kick it for the night. Now, minutes before this, an individual named Lucifer from South Los, who frequents this area, was seen at the RV. He's a young dude from South Los, 17 years old, and he was noticeably apprehensive. He was seemingly hiding inside the RV waiting for a vehicle to leave. And shortly after he does so, Seymour hears a noise outside of the RV, and it ends up being a Suzuki bike owned by Pollo being knocked over to the ground. Seymour turns to Pollo, lets him know his bike is on the ground, and he goes outside to pick it up. As soon as Seymour steps outside of that RV, an event similar to the one that occurred at the Airbnb in Inglewood occurred. Shots start ripping through the walls of the RV. When that happens, Seymour yells to Pollo and says they're shooting before being hit in the neck and being shot a total of 12 times, leaving him directly at the steps of the RV that he just came out of. Pollo, on the other hand, dives on top of Daisy, who went on to say she felt the bullets flying in front of her face. And as Pollo saved her life, he takes 6 shots, 4 of which being directly in his chest. And these are seemingly the first 2 homicide victims laid down by the aggressive shooters. Now, when police got on the scene, they're trying to tape everything off. They said there's a lot of stray cats on the scene, kicking all the shell casings and evidence around, but they end up coming up on 53 spent 9mm shell casings, along with 2 live bullets. Around the RV, numerous pieces of South Los graffiti, and directly south of it is a homeless tent. Now, in that tent lies Pollo's sister, along with other members of South Los. And this is where they get their first witness, making statements about what they seen when East Coast pressed play. She told police about Lucifer and how he was apprehensive at the RV. And she went on to state that after the shooting, she saw 2 vehicles speeding from the scene, a black Volkswagen Jetta and a black Mercedes-Benz SUV. But just east of the RV, she pointed out another vehicle that also has a known association to East Coast, the 2010 blue Mazda 3 that Infant June Boy went down in a month prior at Quality Inn. Now, when they seen the Mazda, the key thing that stuck out to them was that it had bullet holes in it, but the bullet holes did not match the trajectory of the ones that hit the RV. And when they took a closer look inside of it, they noticed a ski mask, a face mask, and blood was also present on the driver's side. And they went ahead and towed that blue Mazda off the scene. Now, Seymour, who was pronounced dead on the scene, with the bullet still protruding from his neck, didn't stand a chance, being directly in the line of fire. But Pollo was transported to UCLA Harbor before being pronounced dead. And the next day, police decide to pull the registration on the blue Mazda, being that's the only piece that seemingly didn't fit off the crime scene. And it came back to none other than Holly Santos, the sister of Infant Baller from 6'9 East Coast. Now, DNA still had to be processed from the blood found in the Mazda, as well as DNA from the items inside the Mazda, along with fingerprints on the car. But police tried to get in contact with Holly Santos about giving her the car back. And of course, they want to talk and ask what her car was doing on 116th. When they finally got in contact with her, she said that she reported the car stolen, and communication with her seemingly went cold after multiple attempts of trying to meet. And on December 7, 2021, police are seemingly sitting on their hands, waiting for more leads to pop up. And one does. Exactly 24 hours after the murder of Pollo and Seymour in the RV, police get a call of a shooting on El Segundo and Main Street in the Athens Park Bloods. Now, this was seemingly a busy day. When police arrived at the Arco gas station, they stumbled across multiple individuals hit with high-powered rifles. Some are still at the scene, others have departed and have now widened the scope of the investigation. But when they contacted the worker inside of the AMPM, she stated she heard several gunshots and a black female enter the store holding the right side of her abdomen, and she observed a large amount of blood leaking from that bullet wound. She stated that the young lady ran to the back of the store, entered the staff room, and then ran back outside the front entrance in an unknown direction. She also stated that she saw a black man run towards the store from the gunshots, and he seemingly jumped inside of an unknown vehicle and sped off the scene. But police also made contact with a Toyota Tundra. There was a gunshot victim sitting in that Tundra who said he was on the phone with his son after he heard several gunshots coming from behind him, and as he slumped down in his seat, his glass shattered and he was hit on the left side of his abdomen. Now, he was treated at the scene, but police needed to find those other victims that came out of a white Alfa Romeo SUV that was left on the scene unattended. So the first point of action, police decided to start calling the hospitals. And this is when they found 2 recent gunshot victims who had stated that they were shot on El Segundo in Maine. Imajane Howard, the female that ran inside the AMPM store, and Keandre Neal, the individual that jumped into the unknown vehicle.
Lost in the mail, one machine gun, bound for Florida. It seems to have disappeared here in Detroit. So how did the post office lose track of something like this? Tonight, the investigators at Local 4 are pushing for answers.
Hello, it's your favorite sports thunk here. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button to join the fastest growing community.
Crimes detailed in the warrant. In July of 2021, Davis and Spingola both
was working to open up the restaurant around 8 this morning.
Hey, as a real gangster though, a real stepper, I need y'all to enlighten me. Like, because I mean this in the most respectful way.
Well, it's one of the biggest problems.
Off the street.
You look serious, bro.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
What's happening, brother?
What's the demo?
What's
How y'all
poppin'?
feeling? Y'all well?
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Okay, that's swell. We swell. Wait, hey, put that a little down. Just
All right, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hey everyone, it's Danielle, welcoming you back to another Cali Faces. Hey everyone, it's Danielle, welcoming you back to another Cali Faces video. During the 1960s and 70s, women would wait in line to give an award for Pimp of the Year. Frank Ward, because of the conflict, Frank Ward became a pimp.
Gruesome and brutal. That is how San Francisco's district attorney described the actions of a woman just convicted of second-degree murder. That murder happened nearly 8 years ago. A body found dismembered and stuffed into a basement storage bin. The victim, her roommate. The motive? Unpaid rent. Here's NBC Bay Area's Sergio Quintana.
When San Francisco police showed up at this home on 14th Street in the city's Mission District on June 2018, Lisa Gonzalez opened the door and invited them in. They were trying to contact her roommate, 61-year-old Margaret Mammer. Her friends and family had called police to conduct a well-being check. What officers found was pretty disturbing.
The San Francisco police discovered the victim dismembered and in a storage unit of the building in which they had lived.
Mammer's remains were in plastic bags and a bin in the basement of the building. Court documents released when Gonzalez was first arraigned describe remnants of a body which had been chopped or sawed up and stuffed into oozing plastic bags. Now, years later, Gonzalez has been found guilty of second-degree murder and using a knife in the commission of that murder. This is a case that circulated through the criminal court system for 8 years. District Attorney Brooke Jenkins says it was marked by several delays from the defense. She says that's actually part of a strategy from defense attorneys.
Sometimes they realize that our cases have very strong evidence and that the best advantage that they can gain is to delay so that memories fade, so that we lose contact with witnesses, so that oftentimes witnesses or the families of victims become very frustrated and uncooperative. And so it works to their advantage.
At the time of her arrest, Gonzalez's public defender said she was frustrated with the victim over unpaid rent.
When Ms. Gonzalez took in Ms. Malmer, she didn't know her terribly well, and I don't believe she knew that she had a history of not paying rent. I'm not saying that's a justification for anything. That's what I know so far.
In a statement today, Deputy Public Defender Alex Lillian said Gonzalez feared she would lose her home where she had lived with her family since the 1960s, and she snapped. According to the district attorney, Gonzalez is facing 16 years to life. A sentencing date has not yet been set. In San Francisco, Sergio Quintana, NBC Bay Area News.
Charlamagne gave Jaden Ivey Dunkey the day yesterday for his comments. Let's take a listen to his previous comments.
The world can proclaim LGBTQ. They proclaim Pride Month and the NBA. They show it to the world. They say, come join us for Pride Month to celebrate unrighteousness. They proclaim it, unrighteousness. So how is it that one can't speak righteousness? How are they to say that, man, this man is crazy?
I gave him Donkey of the Day for not minding his business. Okay, you got waved from the Bulls for something that, you didn't even have to say. What was the point of that?
So Boosie commented on our Breakfast Club Instagram, and he also went to X, and he was basically saying how it's not fair. He said, "This is sad. It's no more freedom of speech anymore." Shaking my head. Comedians can't even make jokes about it no more. The power that has been given to that community is outrageous. Straight men and women no longer have a voice anymore. Shaking my head. If we speak, it's taken as hate. And I see no one preaching hate, honestly. Just because someone does not agree doesn't mean it's hate. It's sad how it's so easy to get canceled for your own beliefs, and you can't even make a statement like, "I only like," and then he says the P word. It will be taken as a shot to the community. I also think people in our community should stand up and speak when people get banned for not agreeing. Why be quiet when your acceptance is greater than ever? It's so many people with power who really are afraid of corporations. It's corporate leagues, corporations, leagues, etc. are afraid. Billionaires are afraid. And he says hopefully Jaden will be able to still provide for his family.
I actually disagree with Boosie. It's very fair. Okay, because free speech is not free. There is a cost to every word that comes out of your mouth. And if you're not willing to pay the price, then shut the hell up, because you are not free from the consequences of your free speech. You can have the freedom to say whatever you want, but if you say what something like Jaden Ivey said, you got to think about all of the people who own that team, who play for that team, the sponsors of that team. And if those people on that team say, you know what, you don't rock with us, so we don't rock with you, so be it. Now you got to stand on what you said. That's actually what free speech is. Free speech isn't being able to say what you want.